Chris Godinez, licensed professional therapist, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday afternoon, and then I post it up to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They're amazing. They are international. If you need to get into a therapist, go to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez, fill out a few questions, and they'll set you up with a licensed professional therapist, either master's level or PhD level here in the States. If you're already here in the States and you want to get into somebody, same thing. Go to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez, and they will set you up with somebody in your state. I've been getting a lot of good feedback on people using them, so thank you, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay, cool beans. So let's answer some questions. So this last week's Sunday was on managing your time. So there have been some questions that I wanted to get to about that. Okay. Did you ever struggle with expecting others around you to go to bed at a certain time or clean up when you were cleaning? I hate to do this, trying to break this. Okay. So remember, narcissists and malignant borderlines are very black and white thinking. If they're doing something, if they're thinking something, then everybody else has to be doing it or thinking it at the same time. So it's a learned behavior, basically. No, I never struggled with that because to me, it's like, hey, you do you, I do me. There's that. Other people do, however. So again, it's a learned behavior. So when you're dealing with a narcissist, when you're dealing with a malignant borderline, if they're thinking or feeling or doing something, they literally, because of the black and white thinking, expect everybody else to be thinking, doing, or feeling exactly what they are. And if you're not, they get angry. So it's really a good idea to get with a good therapist and figure out, what is that about? Are you just doing the behavior because that's what was done to you as you were growing up? Is this something that, you're feeling threatened if people don't do what you're doing? So that's something to investigate. That's something to look at. Get curious about it. It's like, why am I doing this? What is going on here? Is this a learned behavior? Do I have an issue myself? Should I be working on this? So yeah, so basically it's when someone is unable to handle other people doing their own things, somehow it's a threat to the person, or somehow it makes the person feel invalidated, or that, what they're doing is not good enough, or something like that. If that's the case, get with a good therapist, get with a good DBT therapist, and start investigating. What is this all about? What is this about? Where did I learn this? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, it's that inflexibility. It's that, we get taught the inflexibility. I never did that because, like I said, I don't like being manipulated or controlled. So, and I don't like manipulating or controlling others. So, but that is a possibility that was a learned thing from whoever was the abuser in your household. Because like I said, abusers have got black and white thinking. If they're doing something, or if they're thinking something or feeling something, then by God, everybody else should be doing the exact same thing. So you want to start letting that go. You want to start letting just people, go to bed at their own time. Sometimes John stays up later than me. Sometimes I stay up later than John. It just depends, and it's no big deal. Or if one of us is cleaning, the other one doesn't feel the need to suddenly jump in and start cleaning unless the other person goes, hey, can you help me? So it's a matter of letting go. It's letting go. So get with a good therapist, figure out what this is all about, start working on it. Okay, let's go to the next question. Okay, my narc mom is a time vampire. She uses so much of my spare time talking about herself on the phone and then gets annoyed if I cut her off early. What do you suggest? Well, you're going to have to cut her off early. Narcissists do not respect time. They don't respect your time. They expect you to respect their time, but they don't respect your time. So what you're going to have to do is, if and when she calls, you can choose whether or not you want to talk to her. I know that's a hard one. So a lot of times when there is a narcissistic parent that is an energy vampire, just, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me kind of thing, it's really hard for the child, even the adult child, to draw boundaries and not answer that phone. Why? Because if you don't answer the phone, what is she going to do? Next time she talks to you, she's going to be like, why didn't you answer my call? Why da, 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 da. You've got to start training her that you are not her therapist. You are not there at her beck and call. You're not there to make her happy or anything else. So I would start not answering phone calls. Seriously, like answer only every other one, and then every third one, and then every fourth one, and you don't owe her an explanation. So if you do happen to get her on the phone, if you do pick up and she starts talking, you go, Mom, I've got exactly 5 minutes. And then when the 5-minute dinger goes off on your phone, hang up. I got to go. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye. Click. And that's what you're going to do. It's called drawing boundaries. It is. And it's scary. And it feels, what's the word I'm looking for? It feels scary. And it feels like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, they're going to come unglued that I'm not listening to them. Because you even said, when you have to cut her off early, she gets mad. So she tries to punish you. So here's the deal. You're not her therapist. It's not your job to waste your precious time listening to her babble on about her. That's not a healthy relationship. In a healthy relationship, it's back and forth, and it's an enjoyable thing. You look forward to talking to the person. You enjoy talking to them, and they talk to you, and it's a back and forth thing. With a narcissist, it's all me, I, more my genitals, and that's really all it is. And they don't ever ask about you, and they don't ever ask how you're doing, or what's new and exciting in your life, or what's going on. So yeah, you want to start cutting her off, and set a timer. Mom, I've got exactly 5 minutes. Well, why? Because I have things I have to do. Well, what do you have to do? Okay, Mom, you got 5 minutes. It's now down to 4. What do you want to say? She's not going to like it. She's not going to like it. Oh, well, you don't owe her anything. Let's get this through everybody's heads. We do not owe the sperm donor or the egg donor anything. If they were abusive to us, if they continue to be abusive to us, we don't owe them anything. We don't. Your time is valuable. Your time is valuable, and it does not need to be eaten up by somebody who just wants to sit there and talk about themselves 24/7. No, thank you. So like I said, you're going to start drawing boundaries. You're going to start not answering every phone call. You're going to go every other phone call. Or when they do call and you happen to pick up, set a time limit. Mom, I've got 10 minutes. No more than 15, guys. No more than 15. There is no reason on the face of the planet you should be on the phone longer than 15 minutes listening to somebody drone on about themselves. And I wouldn't even do 15. Like I said, 5. 5 minutes is plenty. Get to the point. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So that's what you're going to do. And I would honestly get with a good therapist to help you draw boundaries and to help you get self-esteem. So The Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker, the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, either one of those are really good. You're going to need it. And you're going to need a good therapist to help back you up. So that's what I would suggest with that. Okay. I divorced the ex, shared custody, one teen daughter having the narcissistic tendencies of the ex, the other 11-year-old acting like empath like I was, wondering how to parent them now that I know. Get them into therapy. Get them into a trauma therapist. Seriously. So when I'm talking to people that are about to divorce, I always tell them, get the kids into a trauma therapist. You don't need to tell them it's because, you, the ex, is abusive. You just need to say, hey, the divorce has been traumatic for the kids and the kids need therapy. That's all you need to say. You don't need to say you're a douchebag and the kids need therapy. You don't need to say that. So get them into a trauma therapist. Get them into a therapist, and with the goal of working and repairing the relationship with the one daughter that's taking on some of the traits. And remember, that daughter is a teen. Okay, so teenagers are inherently kind of selfish. God bless them. Hang on. And how much of that is the ex's influence? How much is it them? How much is it the fact that they're a teenager? You want to get a good parenting book for teens. You do, to help you parent a teenager. Parenting a teenager is a challenge. It is. It's not impossible, but it is a challenge. And you also want to, work on boundaries and self-esteem with both of them. what are your boundaries? What are your deal breakers? What won't you put up with? So you're going to work on boundaries and self-esteem with them. You are not going to call out the ex as a narcissist or anything else, because trust me, that will come back and bite you in the ass. What you are going to do, though, is you're going to do compare and contrast. When dad or mom, whoever the ex was, does this, that's not normal behavior. Here's how normal people, here's how healthy people act. Okay? You're going to compare and contrast without diagnosing and without name calling. And you make sure to let the kids know they are loved. They are loved. You love them 110%. You love them unconditionally. And that's the big thing in divorces, is that I see parents, and I mean especially the disordered parent, not the spouse that's not disordered, but I see the disordered parent do a scorched earth policy, try to turn the kids against the other parent, and it just messes with those kids, and it doesn't do what the abuser is intending it to do, which is to hurt the other parent. I mean, it does hurt them, but not in the way they think it's going to hurt them. So it's really important, because remember, these kids are 50% each of you. And so you've got to let them know that, even though you and your spouse did not get along, didn't work out, you love them. This is what's acceptable behavior. This is what's not acceptable. When this occurs in that person's house, that's not okay. We don't do that over here, that kind of thing. So you don't want to be calling them out by calling them names or diagnosing them or anything else like that, but you can call out the behavior. Wow, that was really rude of your mom or your dad to treat the waitress like a servant. Wow, that's not okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You can say that. So, in getting them into therapy to repair the relationship in the case of the older one, and then to help the younger one have boundaries and be able to say no. So remember, when kids are faced with going back and forth between an abuser and the sane parent, there is the ego defense of siding with the aggressor. And a lot of parents are always blindsided by this. Why? Why are they siding with the abuser? Can't they see? Well, they can see, and they're powerless. Kids have no power. Think about it. No money, no physical strength, no ability to say no and have it be respected by the abuser. So what kids do is they side with the aggressor. It's a form of fawning, and it's a way to stay safe. It's a way to not get killed. It's a way to not get in trouble. It's a way to not be punished. So that's why you want to work on their self-esteem, their boundaries, and really understanding what is acceptable behavior and what is unacceptable behavior, if that makes any sort of sense. So this is common. This is common with divorce cases, that the kids seemingly side with the aggressor or side with the abuser, and all they're doing is an ego defense, which is why you've got to get them into a damn good trauma therapist and start working on self-esteem and boundaries. And there are self-esteem workbooks out there for teenagers. There are boundary workbooks out there for teenagers. Get them. Work with them on it. Teach them the mirror work. Do the mirror work with them. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. You know what? I give you permission to like yourself, and then walk out. You're going to teach them that. So you've got to do it too. So it's really important. It's not a do as I say. It's like, look, I'm teaching you. I'm showing you. I'm showing you how to have good self-esteem. I'm showing you how to have boundaries. And so when you have to have boundaries with them or anybody else, use it as a teaching moment. Look, I'm saying no because this is a boundary, and I'm not reversing myself on this. This is not negotiable. This is a boundary. No means no. So you're going to have to work with them on that. And that's what I'm saying. Get the workbooks and teach them self-esteem. Teach them boundaries. Get them into a trauma therapist. Absolutely. So that's what you're going to want to do. And make sure you never, ever badmouth the other parent, no matter how crazy they are. You cannot do that. Now, when they're older and have more cognitive ability, because remember, kids are not just little adults. They're kids. Cognitively, they cannot cope with all of this. They don't understand that they're doing the ego defense of siding with the aggressor. It's not like they woke up one day and said, hey, I know. I'm going to pick this parent because I'm afraid of them. And I'm going to act out with this parent because I know I'm safe with them. They don't cognitively go through that thought process. This is all instinctual at this point. When they're older, when they're getting closer to 18, when they're, no longer under the court's whatever, then you can start adding a little bit more information. You still don't want to call the X names. You still don't want to diagnose them. But you can start offering books like Object of My Affection is in My Reflection, Coping with a Narcissist by Raquel Lerner. Stop Walking on Eggshells by Randy Krieger. You can start offering things like that. And, hey, if you have any questions, let me know. So cognitively, you got to wait until they're cognitively there to get more in depth. So there that is. So I hope that answered the question. All right, guys, on Sunday, we will be talking about getting out of your story. How to get out of your story. What you tell yourself is how it's going to turn out. So you all better be careful what you say to yourself all the time, which is why I'm always constantly going, what is the internal critic doing? Put it down, replace it with a positive. So we're going to talk about how to get out of your story and how sometimes those stories serve us in the beginning, but how they end up biting us in the butt in the end. So, all right, we're going to talk about that on Sunday. You guys have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.